Hello and welcome to the SNU Reel. We have come to the end of the third National Media Conclave, and right now I am highly honored to have with me Dr. Shankar Pandey sir, Associate Professor and Head of Journalism and Mass Communication Department of Surendranath College for Women. Well, there's more. He brings over 18 years of experience to his research on new media literacy, journalistic identity and media credibility, with a focus on how digital technology influences communication and promotes electronic resources over print media. Well, sir, firstly I want to ask you if you could just give us a brief about your journey in this journalism career.
Okay, about my journey.
How did you start, and when did you think that you want to be in this journalism career?
Right. So that's a very difficult thing to ask a person, about himself or herself, because we know even in interviews, one of the most difficult tasks is to tell something about yourself. But anyway, I'll give it a try. So basically, I did my graduation in physics. So I was a science student. Okay. So that's because, in our times, and that was in the 90s, the so-called good students were supposed to go to science, and that's where I went. But then I thought that, I used to be very good with language, with general knowledge, with current affairs and all those kind of things. And that is something that I enjoyed, watching people speak on television or, analyze events and those kind of things. So probably at the back of my mind, it was there. And then after graduation, we got an opportunity. Those days, you could, in Calcutta University, you could, from other streams, you could come down to do masters as well. So rather than going for a masters in physics, I decided let's try journalism. Now that was a difficult thing, trying to explain others that you had to study journalism, because those days it was thought that journalism is something that comes naturally. It's not something that you have to learn. So I got enrolled in the Calcutta University journalism department in '96, and that was such a fabulous journey. All the things about communication, about how to be persuasive, and how to how people make things sound persuasive, and what are the elements that make communication so very fascinating. 99, I got through it's known as GRF, and after that I did not straight away go to research, because I got an opportunity to work as a reporter, as a senior reporter, and then as a chief reporter in Asian Age Calcutta. That was again a fabulous journey, because that allowed us to do everyday reporting. I was there in the midst of everything good that was happening in Calcutta those days, so all big events, etc. And then in 2002, I got through College Service Commission and joined this position. And ever since, so you get to do normal journalism as well. You get to meet wonderful, bright young people, and with them, this journey becomes even more interesting, more enlightening, and more fulfilling, I guess. It's been a very rewarding, a very learning experience. We've been from the generation when there were no mobile phones, probably no computers, and from there to artificial intelligence now. We have seen the best of all technologies. We have seen the beginning of the OTT. We have seen the beginning of the pagers. We've seen the beginning of malls and everything. So we've seen the world change right in front of our eyes. So I think we are a blessed generation that we've been on both sides of the digital divide.
So if you had to name your journalism career in a word, what would you say?
In one word?
In a word.
I wouldn't change anything for it. So this is what I think I was meant to do. So I think that this is life.
Sure, sir. So in your experience, how was the education in journalism evolved over the years? How did it evolve?
Yeah, so it's evolved in a huge way. So ours, for example, Calcutta is one of the pioneers in journalism education. So we were one of the first universities to start journalism. We are celebrating 75 years now. So those days, the need for a journalism course was felt by the professionals themselves. So they petitioned the then government that we need a kind of a professional course where we can get some kind of a training. So the journalists themselves, they wanted a course like that. So initially it was all about print media, and even in print media it was, there were no computers, believe me. So everything was handwritten. You had to design and everything, cutting and pasting and all things. So those things were there. So right from there till, and it carried on for quite some time. And then we had radio. And then, when television came, especially in the 80s, television came in a big way. And, people started recognizing. So even a television news reader used to be such a big celebrity. But from television, then, 90s saw the influx of computers in a big way. And it's at the Asian Age newspaper where I was working, where I got to see for the first time that the page making was done on a computer screen. And, Photoshop came in. You could, do those cutouts so well. You could draw those illustrations. So right from those software, plus, we had editing software became so easy. The page making software became so much more different. We are, from a generation, as I told you, where photographs would be, recorded on those photographic reels, 36, 38, that's it. I mean, that's all you get. And then you take it to one of those developers in Esplanade, wait for a few hours, and then you could see those wonderful photographs. But then came digital era. I mean, you could immediately, transfer that, and you could see the photographs, and you could take a printout, and you could do all those kind of things. So this was again one major change. Then, we came to digital recording and digital editing and all that. It was no longer analog, because earlier it was linear. Once you had to, just go linear. Now, anything which was, right at the end, you could bring it to the beginning and so on and so forth. Then a major change happened. The mobile phones came in. Right. And that changed so many things in such a big way, because mobile phones, nowadays, you can actually film a 4K film and edit it on a mobile phone, upload it on a YouTube, right? I mean, sitting here, you don't require any other thing. And now, from mobile technology, we are on to, I mean, again, the cloud technology is another major thing that has happened. Earlier, we used to have all those big hard disks. Maybe if you had one TB hard disk, you are a very rich person, This has changed in a big way. And artificial intelligence is now going to change everything. Much bigger than mobile, much bigger than internet, much bigger than cloud, because that impacts every level of the computing process.
So, do you think to be in the journalism career, you need to have that grip in your vocabulary, be it in English, Bengali, or Hindi, or any other language for that matter? Or is it very important to use those difficult words while you are writing a story, or maybe you are reporting? Is it necessary to use those difficult words, or is it okay if we use normal words for that matter?
You worked really hard on your questions. Congratulations. That's really good. It's very nice of you. Now see, in communication we say that we communicate not to impress, right, but to express. That's the most important thing. Because often when I say something, I mean, the idea is that I want the entire same thing to be transmitted to you. And if in between there are jargons, there are technical words, or there are difficult words or abstract words and all, this communication becomes a massive problem. So communication becomes much easier when we are talking in terms which are similar to each other. So it's very, very important to know that who is the target audience for whom I am writing. So for example, if I'm talking to journalism students, I would put my ideas in a journalistic way. So once you know your target audience, it's very, very important to use the simplest word, to use as few words as possible, and also make sure that there is no misunderstanding, because you might say something and the other person does not understand that thing. That would not be a fair thing. So that's very, very important that this kind of a understanding is there. Secondly, it's very important for students to do a lot of reading. I mean, see, if you read 10 pages, you can probably write 1 page. It's not the other way around. So the more you read, the better you become. So it's like, I mean, you will never be perfect. It's not that, I will get perfect with everything and then I will start doing it. We say that you start practicing. Whatever you know, you face the camera, you write a blog, you get on a website, just do it. So the more you do, the better you become, the more confident you become. But this is a lifelong process, trying to add value to whatever you're doing. The more you add value to everything, we are learning AI on a daily basis. We are learning every new technology that comes in to stay relevant. And you have to put in the hard work. There is no shortcut to hard work.
So, while being in the training period, reporters or any field for such matter, they lack in confidence, fumble in front of the camera, and how do we deal with them? Like, who are studying journalism or who are aspiring journalists? For them, if you just could give.
Right. So again, this is going to be a long answer because as teachers, we love speaking on the camera and we love speaking long sentences. So I'll again do that. See, it's very, very important to understand that unless and until you're enjoying your work, you will not be successful. I'll repeat, the simple mantra to succeed in anything is to enjoy that work. We as teachers, after 22 years, we love, sitting in front of the camera and talking for hours because we enjoy this work. And that's very, very important. So if you're not enjoying the work that you're doing, you probably should be doing something that you enjoy. So learn to enjoy whatever you're doing. Secondly, as I said, practice, and practice. The more you practice, the better you become. Thirdly, you should understand that whatever you think, you become. Thoughts become things. So you have to visualize yourself that I'm doing well and people are clapping and I'm doing right and everybody is appreciating and you have to kind of psych yourself up. You have to trick your brain into believing that you're good at it. Every time you think that, oh my God, I might fumble, you will fumble. But if you think, no, I'll do it well, you will actually do well. So it's very important to feel good about yourself, because if you're not feeling good about yourself, how will you make the other person feel good about yourself? So you can do that only if you're confident and you believe. That confidence comes, most of us, we have come from the print generation. We are not used to facing the camera, but we have got used to this because we think that this is important. So maybe the first day won't be good, but it keeps on improving every day. That's the Japanese concept. They say that, that every day you increase something better. Whatever you are today, tomorrow you are 1% better. Again, you are better. So that power of incremental learning is huge. You should not believe that today itself I'll become like a Christian Amanpour, or I will start speaking like the best orator. Okay, it will take time, but you have to start believing that, okay, I'm good at it. I will be good at it. I will keep getting better. So keep some time for updating yourself. Keep some time for adding skills. So not just knowledge. We keep telling students that knowledge is good, but you must add attitude to that as well. And attitude means positive. Any new thing, I take it as a challenge. I feel good about it, that I'm going to do good at it. The third is skill. Learning skills of any trade. So everything, the pause, the tone, whether I'm going to raise my voice in certain places, stop at certain places, how I look at camera, etc. That's a skill that we develop. Then fourth, good habits. Having good habits in whatever we're doing. So if I have a good habit of being, working strong in a certain field, let's continue that good habit. So knowledge, attitude, skill, and habit. You have to inculcate all these things. KASH stands for cash. So you will live happily ever after and you'll be wealthy as well.
True, sir. So journalists are often heard that they over-sensationalize news for the TRP of their show. So in your opinion, do you think being a true journalist, you should do such kind of things? Or just, if you want to become a true journalist, then you should avoid these things?
See, why do people read news? Or why do people read a newspaper? Or why do they watch a television? Or why do they listen to a podcast? Or why do they, read a story on a blog, etc.? Because they want to get something new, something out of the ordinary, something which is not routine, something which is interesting, something which is, makes me read something which is attractive. Now, every day, every time, something so very interesting, something so very attractive, something so very novel is not happening. And when those things don't happen, people try and put in words as if that or maybe they're shouting, or maybe they're making running like as if they are doing panting on the screen, and all. It doesn't look good. You have to see how it appears. Now the point is that that won't take you very far. We have a concept known as clickbait, where we provide interesting headlines so that people click on the thing. But if they don't find the story good enough, they'll blacklist you forever. Next time they're not going to read your story. So you are as good as your work. So people do realize that in the end, it's the content that matters. But of course, with the content, the format in which you present the content is important as well.
So lastly, any advices, tips or tricks for the aspiring journalists?
I've said all of it. I'll just repeat some of the things again. First of all, you must learn to enjoy whatever you're doing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, please learn how to enjoy or do something that makes you happy. That's very, very important. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, you will never be happy. Secondly, practice. I mean, you have to have that practice. Even the best in the business, just name anyone. The late Lata Mangeshkar, Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, anyone, the hours of practice they put into their work. So there is no substitute for hard work. Thirdly, it's very, very important to be a good person. Because if you're not a good person, you will be caught out. And in this kind of an environment, it's team spirit, it's teamwork. So all the positive things that you learn should be reflected in your work, and you have to keep yourself making a better person. Because if you're a very good professional but not a good person, nobody would want to work with you. And that's why we say that investing in values is also very important. Now that would sound like a kind of a preachy advice, but that's very practical as well. Because if I have the values of punctuality, I have the values of discipline, I have the values of truthfulness, etc., it stands me in good stead every time, and things start getting better for me. And you have to walk that extra mile, wherever possible, because just if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you will end up getting the same results what everybody else is getting. So to get better than the others, because that's where the problem is. I mean, we have so many talented people, so many wonderful young people, that you have to be an extra step ahead of them. So you have to keep getting better at that and keep updating yourself in the skills, in the attitudes and everything, and have the belief that in the end everything is good. If a certain thing does not work out, believe me that the universe has something better in store for you. So have that thought, and if you have that nice belief, you have that nice smile on your face, everybody who meets you, would want to meet you again. Anybody who has those negative vibes, people don't want to meet them the next time. So you must understand that all these human connections are very, very important, and have the belief that whatever happens is for good. And I'm sure all of you will do very, very well.
For sure, so your advices will inspire more such students like us who are in this journalism career. Well, that's for it. That's for today. Stay tuned to the SNU Reel. This was Anesha in conversation with Dr. Shankar Pandey, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.